Be sure more of it comes from Wisconsin. Wisconsin farmers grow the corn that becomes ethanol right here in our state. Ethanol blends produce clean fuel. It's better for your engine, better for your wallet, and it supports Wisconsin farmers. That's a home run. The next time you fill up, choose Unleaded 88. Learn more at wibiofuels.org.
Members of LIUNA are the most diverse trade in Wisconsin's construction industry, partnering with over 900 contractors to meet the demand for a skilled, safe, and productive workforce. Their union members construct roads, bridges, buildings, sewer and water lines, and energy infrastructure. Feel the power of a career as a member of the Wisconsin Laborers District Council, where you will earn great union wages, health care, and a pension. Learn why you are worth so much more by visiting liunawisconsin.org. LIUNA Wisconsin.org.
Get up! Get out of here and go!
It's playoff time once again in Milwaukee. And now it's time to break down the game. This is Brewers Extra Innings in the playoffs. Now live from American Family Field, here's your host, Bob Brainerd.
You know, with 5 days of rest, the question for the Milwaukee Brewers was going to be, would there be rust? There was no rust, Jerry Augustine. There was anything but rust. Hi, everybody. Bob Brainerd in for Dom on Brewers Extra Innings, along with former Brewer pitcher Jerry Augustine. Brewers didn't need extra innings. Heck, they needed just the first inning to put this one away. No signs of lackadaisical or we had too much time off. We didn't know how to react to playing a meaningful baseball game once again. They got all over the Chicago Cubs, even after the leadoff home run in the top of the first.
Yeah, they were swinging the bat so well. You know, you and I talked to it. What was it going to be for this organization by having time off, by winning division, having that week off? What was it going to be? And we talked about a veteran ball club, how they go about their business, and they go through the batting practices, and they go through some simulated games. But I think when you talk about this ball club, when they go through 162 games with a lot of young kids, being able to have that week off and go through a lot of different game situations, and they did that all week long. And I remember a couple of players said there were a couple of days that it was pretty intense here by going after the workouts were really intense. So I think Murph did an excellent job getting them ready, and they went in this ball game saying that, you know, we're going to go out and play our game. We're going to play Brewer baseball, and right from inning one they did that.
I think, Augie, again, I mentioned, the leadoff home run by Bush in the top of the first. And then when that happened, we got a gauge here volume-wise, how many Cubs fans are in the yard, how many Brewers fans. I would say, you heard the guys talking, maybe 70-30. That 30% was pretty happy. But then along comes the bottom of the first. And before we get there and talk about that offensive outburst, I think it was imperative and crucial that Freddie didn't let that bother him. He settled down, got the next batters after that, didn't allow that thing to blow up in the top of the first.
And I think that's one thing you see out of Freddie Peralta. Every year that we've known Freddie Peralta, we remember the day in Colorado where he struck out 13, and it was fastball Freddie, and he was fastball Freddie for a number of years, and all of a sudden he started getting his breaking ball. Educational-wise, as far as physical-wise on the mound, he's got all the pitches. He's got the great fastball. He can throw it 2-seam, 4-seam, let it run a little bit, has good breaking ball, good changeup. But I think the educational part of pitching is where Freddie has really gotten that much better. He's taken that knowledge that he has. He knows how to make adjustments. And I think one thing we see him, Freddie used to be a kind of an up-tempo pitcher.
Yeah.
He get the ball and be rushed to the plate. You see him now. He understands the game. He backs off. He knows the pitch. He concentrates. He stays within himself with his delivery, and it's made a huge difference this year. I thought part of this game, it was really nice to watch him pitch because he was locating every pitch that he wanted.
Yeah, and if you want to see how the mental aspect of pitching comes into play, as we said, leadoff home run, Freddie's able to shake that off, right? Cubs, on the other hand, they go with Boyd to start this contest. He wasn't able to get out of it. He wasn't able to get 3 outs.
That's right.
He wasn't able to shake off the early damage that Milwaukee did. So you can see the difference there psychologically, how pitchers, hey, either you let it eat you up or You shake it off. You move on. You say long ball game to go. Freddie did that. Boyd did not.
Well, and when you look at Boyd, he's the kind of guy who doesn't walk guys. He's a strike one guy. He's the kind of guy that when he pitches, his success comes in. I'm going to be strike one. When I'm more strike one than I'm more ball one, I can be in the ball game. I can use all my off-speed pitches, and that's where I'm effective. Where Freddie has been able to make those great adjustments on the game. After home run by Bush, he took that step back. You could just see him. I'm not going to let this bother me. I'm going to go up. I'm going to still pitch my game. And I tell you, at times, they all say sometimes pitchers pitch backwards. And by pitching backwards, we say in a fastball count, they throw a breaking ball or an off-speed pitch. In an off-speed count, they throw a fastball. Freddie did that. He did that. But you know what? He did it in that end of the first inning. And second inning came out, and he was dialed in.
It's not our place to second guess what the opponents are doing, going with Boyd on short rest and Craig Counsell. We'll hear from Counsell later on. He already spoke to the media. He was the first to speak to the media after the game. But I think the Cubs fans, and you can second guess this game, every which way, right? But when you kind of grit your teeth going in saying you really want to start this guy when perhaps there were other options. Savali came in, former Brewer pitcher, Aaron Savali.
Very well.
Who's used to being a starter, right, Augie?
That's right.
Maybe he might have been a better option for the Cubs or somebody. I mean, again, hindsight, right?
Yeah, that's right.
But I think there was some, you mentioned Brown. Brown, he could have been a guy that could have started. Again,
he's one of those guys that goes out against the Brewers. He steps on the mound, and we just have a hard time with him. I think there's a lot of thought, Bobby. You brought up a really great point right there. Is who do you go to? But I think they're saying Boyd last time out pitched 4 1/3 innings, didn't throw a lot of pitches, and he's my all-star. He's the guy that we've leaned on all year.
Yeah.
In the big games when he needed somebody, we went to him. I just think the Brewers understood the way he was going to pitch. He's going to be aggressive. He's trying to get ahead. And they took advantage of it right from the first with Chourio, the first hitter on. They took advantage of that.
Yeah, it's like old home week. They could have gone with Colin Ray. Colin Ray was another option, although you were looking at the numbers, and Colin Ray, not great, his last 5-6 outings. So, yeah, Craig Counsell, he had some choices, but, I think you're right, Augie. He went with his gut, and he went with, what have you done for me this year? Not what have you done for me lately. But what have you done for me this year, and can I give you the baseball and get it done? It didn't work, but now this sets up interesting game 2 because neither Murph or Craig Counsell has named their starting pitcher for game 2. We know with the Brewers you're looking at Quinn Priester or Jose Quintana. Cubs, though, I don't know where they're going to turn here, especially in a desperate kind of situation for them, because if they go down 2-0 going to Wrigley Field, you're in trouble.
Well, there's a reason why Talion, the last game, he only threw 4 innings. They got him out of the game.
Yeah.
What about 57, 58 pitches, throwing the ball very well. He might be considered. Colin Ray might be the guy they come up with. You don't know which way the Chicago Cubs are going to go, but they have to make some adjustment. The second game, after you play the first game on the road, that second game becomes very important. You have to understand, it might be a bullpen game. You don't know what they're going to do. I think on the Brewers side, it's a little bit different. You go out, you say, hey, we just went out the first game. We had Freddie go in. He pitched the ball very well. I think what they're going to make the move, and I may be wrong, but I think Priester's going to be the guy.
Okay.
Because he's going to be at home where he's comfortable. He's pitched very well at home. He's had success here, and it's a little bit different when you talk about a Priester pitching at home here as opposed to a Quintana who can pitch in Chicago, who played for Chicago.
Played for the Cubs.
So yeah. I think that might be in the thoughts there, and I don't know what they're going to do, but my guess would be Priester would go second, and now they got waiting in the wings. They got a guy who's really familiar with Chicago, and that's Quintana, and he's the guy that can make some good adjustments. That's just what we're saying. I don't know for sure, but I think that would be a way that they may go.
I think you're on to something. He's former Brewer pitcher Jerry Augustine, Bob Brainerd in on Brewers Extra Innings. Before we take a break, Augie, let's talk offense now, because they struck early in offense, sent 11 men to the plate in that first inning, knocked Boyd out of the game. He couldn't get 3 outs, only got 2. But what you saw here, and you and I talked about that this morning on Brewers warm-up, right?
That's right.
When it comes to the offenses in this matchup, you can't let the Cubs, who hit home runs as good as anybody in Major League Baseball, they can't just be popping home runs all over the ballpark, because that's going to work against you. you can give up 3 home runs when A, they're solo home runs, and B, you got a 9-1 lead. So that worked to their advantage. Flip side, what did the Brewers do? Chip away, take a lot of pitches, wear out Boyd in that very first inning. They did Brewer things, right? The Cubs are doing their things, but their home runs were too little too late. So offense, philosophy, Brewers win today.
Well, I really like what the Brewers did today. I think they went with the idea that they're going to be aggressive from first inning, and they had the perfect guys up there with the top of their batting order to be aggressive, and Chourio was aggressive all the way down the lineup. They were really aggressive. But as it went on, after they got some guys in base, and then we had the miscue by Horner at second base, you started seeing what they're doing.
Yep.
They started getting patient at the plate, and they went into deep counts, and they made the pitchers throw a lot of pitches. So this is a team which I really respect a lot, because they have the good idea of being aggressive at times when they know the pitcher is going to want to strike one and hit the ball where it's pitched and may take advantage of it. But at the same time, as it goes along, they understand that they have to be a little bit patient. Today was a day of manufacturing runs.
Absolutely.
And it worked just as well as hitting a home run today. And, we look at that first inning, they scored 6. What do we talk about this morning?
Mm-hmm.
4 runs or more. They lead all of baseball. Wow. Come up the first inning and you score 6 runs. What a special thing to do on opening day.
No one manufactures runs quite like this Milwaukee Brewers squad in 2025. They win it by the count of 9-3. When we come back on Brewers Extra Innings, we're going to hear from... Remember this Craig Counsell guy? He used to be here, right? Isn't he a Wisconsin native?
I think I know the guy since he's been 8.
Yeah. Oh, jeez, you're not kidding. We're going to hear from Craig Counsell, because we can second guess, but did Craig Counsell second guess his decision to start Boyd, and how did he feel about the first and second innings when his team got ambushed? That and more when we return.
Neck and back surgeries can be risky. Your spine deserves the best. That's why professional athletes choose Neurospine Center of Wisconsin. We can help you too. With the top nationally rated spine surgeons in the state for quality outcomes, you can trust the professionals at Neurospine Center of Wisconsin. Get a second opinion in just a few clicks. Now offered virtually throughout Wisconsin. Visit nscwi.com. Whether you want to get back into the game or just get back to life, go where the pros go. Neurospine Center of Wisconsin. Your spine health is our passion.
They saved over $50,000 after we sold their home at only 1.9%. You don't have to pay 6% to market and sell your home. Hundreds of Century 21 Benefit Realty clients will attest. You can get it all for only 1.9%. The more value your home has, the more important it is to find the best real estate commission and the marketing ability to get top dollar. And with Century 21 behind us, that's what we have. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated. Half a century of marketing expertise joined with over 20 years of local market knowledge. Not to mention the savings you'll see after you get our best commission right up front, which, by the way, is only 1.9% on the listing side of your home. Join that together and you can be sure that you've chosen the right real estate experts who have the experience to market your home effectively and give you a commission that'll end up paying for things like new furniture. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated.
This is Brewers Extra Innings.
Hey, Milwaukee, it's playoff time. Just like the crew brings the energy on the field, Fifth Third Bank brings it to your business. With local expertise and 15 years in Milwaukee, we'll help you score your next big win. Fifth Third Bank, National Association member, FDIC. Bob Brainerd here at the Ballpark American Family Field with former Brewer pitcher Jerry Augustine. We're talking about till about 6:30 or so. Well, we got Saturday night. We still got some Saturday night left, so we need to go enjoy. But Brewers win at 9-3 to take Game 1 in this best-of-5 series with the Chicago Cubs. All right, after the contest, Craig Counsell was front and center at the podium to talk about it. Again, pitching, giving the baseball to his starter, Matthew Boyd, in this one. That was one of the hot questions from the media.
As a manager, and you see your pitcher doesn't have very much from the beginning, what type of mode, thought-wise, do you go into right away? I mean, how different does it get for you right away?
Yeah, I mean, in games like this, I mean, that's That's why we had somebody up with 20-some pitches into the game. So you try to be aggressive. They did a great job in the first inning, man. I mean that's bottom line. They had really good at bats. They hit some balls. They hit balls hard. They spoiled pitches. The Perkins at bat was just a great at bat. I mean, just got to give him credit for that. Matt made some pitches to him, and he spoiled them and ended up with a base hit. It was a really, really good major league at bat. And obviously the air. They capitalized on the air. They capitalized on an extra out very well, and then that cost us for sure.
Tony, third row.
Greg, Brainerd. I was just going to ask a little bit more about that error and the impact it had after defense obviously was such a big factor in the previous series, but like you just said, the Brewers' ability to capitalize on it as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the big thing is that they capitalized on it. We even with the air, if we get Ortiz out, it's 4-1 game. We couldn't get Ortiz. We walked Ortiz, which was costly. Obviously, Chourio hit a pretty good pitch, did a nice job. But yeah, they capitalized on an extra out.
John, second row.
Craig, you said you guys and Boyd were both thinking about this moment, right after he came out of game 1 of the wild card series. What made you guys think that when you talked to the front office and everyone that this was going to be a good matchup for Boyd pitching on 3 days rest?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think just we didn't feel like the number of pitches that he threw on Tuesday, what he's done all season, been our best starting pitcher, those two things.
Go to Christina on the far right, third row.
Just what Savali was able to give you today and how that sets you up. Obviously, we're going to have off day anyway, but how it sets up the bullpen and pitching stuff moving forward.
No, I mean, I think, look, Aaron and Ben did a heck of a job. Super important. Our relievers are completely reset. We can work with Monday's game however we want to. Really, really important. Both guys, when you're going to your third pitcher in the second inning, that could be really problematic, even with the off days. So Aaron's outing, Ben's outing, especially Aaron's outing, really, really saved us.
Steve, down in the front.
Craig, obviously it's one loss and not more than one loss, but just given how it went, does it change your view of the series at all? How you see your team, their team, and your chance to win?
Well, I mean, we're down 1-0. Nothing else changes besides that. It's 1-0. I don't think, I'm not sure we'd manage the game differently on Monday, up 1-0, down 1-0. So I'm not sure it does. We made it harder for ourselves. We got to win 3 out of 4 now. They got to win 2 out of 4. Other than that, we've got to do more. We pitched well for the last 6 innings. We didn't pitch great early. That's it.
Okay, last one, Jesse, far right.
Craig, even though he threw 58 pitches, is 3 days rest always that dicey sort of situation, no matter what, because it's so unusual for pitchers? We usually see the stats don't look good after 3 days.
Yeah, I mean, we picked Matt Boyd to pitch. I don't know what to say. He pitched. He pitched. Didn't go well. We got to make decisions. We went with Matt. We're very comfortable. I was very, very comfortable putting Matt Boyd on the mound today. The whole organization was comfortable putting Matt Boyd on the mound today.
Okay, so that is Cubs manager Craig Counsell. By the way, if you're playing a drinking game, so anytime Craig starts an answer with "Yeah, I mean," then you're hammered by now. But yeah, interesting. He got a little defensive there on that last question and answer about Boyd. Just digging his heels in, saying, no, that was our guy. We were all behind him 100%. I mean, again, it's hindsight. He got racked around and couldn't finish the first inning. But Craig was going to bat for his guy, wasn't he?
Well, he was, and I think he did state the last time out he only pitched like 4 2/3 innings.
Right.
Only threw like 45, 50 pitches. Most guys, when they throw that amount of pitch plus the amount that you throw in a bullpen, will be able to come back in with 3 days rest. That's pretty normal. And I think anytime you look, he's your all-star pitcher. And one thing that Matt Boyd has been able to do all year, he sometimes gets off to a little bit of a rocky start. Locating ball. It's all location, being able to use his secondary pitches. All of a sudden he gets dialed in, and all of a sudden you look up at the scorecard, and he's retired 13 or 14 in a row, or 12 or 13 in a row. He's kept the ball, kept it in the game. He's kept the ball on the ground. He's kept it in the ballpark. So, with Craig's defense, I don't disagree with him at all. I just think that, they had opportunities to pitch somebody differently. They went with Matt Boyd, and as long as you feel as the manager of the ball club, along with the pitching coaches and the coaches, decide that's the best way to go, that is the right way to go.
Yeah, Counsell touched on this as well, the fact that after having to pull his starting pitcher, only getting the first 2 outs of the first inning, you got a lot of really good relief. And it was actually in the Cubs' favor, Augie, that this was so lopsided after the first. If the Cubs would have come storming back, and now you have to throw anybody in the bullpen to try to keep getting closer and closer, this could have been worse for them going forward. So the fact that he didn't have to tap the bullpen over and over again after that first inning benefits them.
Well, I think Craig, what he did right there is he went out and he brought Soroka in. Soroka was a guy they traded for from the Washington Nationals. He was a guy that was going to be one of their top starters. He only pitched 4 outings, probably a total of 11 innings in the month of September. So he's sitting back thinking, where do I go from here? They've already scored. They're scored 4 or 5 runs. What can I do? I'm going to bring Soroka in, see what he does in a short time. And I don't think that's I think that's a good opportunity to bring him, see where he's at. Because if he comes in a game and he's dominating, wow, 3 days from now, 4 days from now, you got another pitcher that you can use. Maybe he's not quite there yet. But then when Aaron Savali came in and pitched as well as he did for 4 1/3 innings, I thought was fantastic. And Ben Brown, I just remember him pitching against the Brewers. He's one of those guys. He throws it and they hit it at somebody, and that's just the way it is. So I think they made the moves that they thought was right. I think Craig is absolutely right. They saved the strength of their bullpen for Monday, and now they get that extra day's rest. So I think it's going to benefit them.
Something else that Counsell touched on was the error at second base, and how you gave them the extra outs, and how that's what Milwaukee does, right? The Brewers pounce on those opportunities. But again, if you make that play, all right, you're limiting the damage. Now perhaps your starting pitcher's going deeper. Now you start hitting a couple bombs, which they hit too late, but all of a sudden, maybe it's a 4-1 game. It turns into 4-3 quickly. So if you want to put this under the microscope, it was not getting to the first inning, but with their starting pitcher. And then that error turned this lopsided. It got silly quickly.
It did. It really did. And, Bob, we talked, I think we did a show together back, I think it was in the middle of August. We did a show, and that night, the team that we played, and I don't remember which, made some misplays. And one of the things that we discussed on that, and he brought that up, he says, is there the one special thing about this ball club, this Milwaukee Brewer ball club, if you make a mistake, they're going to make you pay. And they do that very well. Yeah. And I thought that's what they did. And we talked the adjustments about being aggressive hitting. All of a sudden they make the error. What does the team do? They dial it back a little bit. Now they make the pitchers start throwing more strikes. They get better pitches to hit the ball to all fields. And I tell you, it really made a big difference.
All right, when we come back on Brewers Extra Innings, more clubhouse chatter from the folks downstairs. A happy Brewers clubhouse as they beat the Cubs in Game 1, 9-3. Jerry Augustine, Bob Brainerd, with you live and in color from American Family Field.
Your adventure awaits you at International BMW, where you can drive home a new BMW X3 X-Drive for just $559 a month, or a new 228 X-Drive for just $399 a month, and 1.99% financing is available. International BMW in Milwaukee, a member of the International Autos Group, where our ordinary needs to be extraordinary. With approved credit, 39-month leases. Due at signing equals $42.49 on 228 and $55.49 due on X3. Tax, title, license, and doc fee extra.
Ready for the snap. snap and a timeout taken. The team looks a little bit lost. Let's bring in Gina Della from Pella. What's the winning game plan this month?
Wayne, the winning play is simple. A whole house of new windows as low as $297 a month with 0% interest for up to 60 months.
Wow, that's a drive you can sustain for years. No penalties, no interest. A championship move from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
No doubt, Wayne. And unlike the opponent's defense, Pella Windows actually stopped the drafts.
The draft picks we gave up for number one had to be the steal of the century.
True, but I'm talking about replacing old drafty windows.
Roger that. With energy-efficient windows that keep the cold out, you'll stay as toasty as a fan at a warm weather preseason game.
Pay as low as $297 a month for a whole house of new Pella windows.
Plus, with 0% interest for up to 60 months, don't sit on the sidelines, folks. Make your move today.
Schedule your free consultation today at PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. 10/31/2025. Welcome back to Brewers Extra Innings.
You know, as the temperatures drop, not today, Augie. Today was
beautiful.
It was like a day at the beach. But as they drop next week, it's going to start to drop because it's Wisconsin. That's how we roll. Don't risk a cold shower now through October 31st. That's Halloween, of course. Cider Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical offering $200 off a new water heater plus a free 5-year extended labor warranty. Stay cozy. Visit cider.com today. That's SEIDER.com. Yeah, he's Jerry Augustine. I'm Bob Brainerd. This is Brewers Extra Innings. Milwaukee beats Chicago in game one of the best of 5, 9-3 the final score. After the contest, Christian Yelich, the heartbeat of this ball club, and in that clubhouse, talking about this impressive offensive display.
Christian, 9 runs on 13 hits. I mean, what an offensive performance. Like, what was behind all of that, I guess?
Just good at bats after good at bats. You know, guys put some really good swings on some balls, and yeah.
How important was it to get game one?
Yeah, it's obviously important. So, you know, we got a couple more to go, and, you know, still got to continue to play well, you know, the rest of the series, just one game.
Chris, you've been around enough of these to know that one batter to lead off a game doesn't make the entire game. But in the dugout, you see a home run go out of the yard just to get things going. The response is there. And what does that say about your team's ability to kind of bounce back and shrug it off?
Yeah, I mean, well, you're fine. You got to score to win. So just obviously not an ideal start, but we still have 9 innings left to play, you know, and, you know, credit to the guys for staying after it and bouncing back right away. And, you know, you knew it was going to be a series of ups and downs and momentum swings and just stay the course.
Was this a lot of bottled up energy after a week off to, you know, you guys kind of came out firing all cylinders?
Yeah, I mean, we were just, you know, making sure we were ready to play during those days off, you know. Guys just resting up their bodies after a long season, and then we obviously had our inner squads and our practices and just working on things we wanted to work on for a few days, and then, you know, you get in an atmosphere and in an environment like that, and, you know, you're ready to go, and, you know, we just put some at-bats together at the beginning of the game.
It didn't seem like the typical 50-50 Cubs-Brewers home game crowd. Just how did you like the atmosphere from the camp? How much did you feed off the atmosphere from the crowd?
Yeah, I mean, it was a great atmosphere. You know, the fans were ready to go too, and you could tell everybody was into it, you know, right at intros. You know, it was an electric atmosphere, and especially the first couple innings there. And those games are awesome. You live for playing in games like that and that kind of atmosphere. So hats off to the fans. They did a great job today, and looking forward to seeing more of the same on Monday.
You were here in 2021 when you guys were in the same spot. The Braves went on to win that series. How do you guys, what's the message to your teammates to not get complacent for this?
Well, I don't think anybody's getting complacent. You know, we know it's one game. You know, even if we lost today, it's still one game. And they're a great team. We obviously have a lot of respect for them. And know they have a lot of good players over there. So we know we got to continue to play well the next few games of this series and be ready to go.
Christian, with the way you guys take at bats and run the bases, put the ball in play, do you sense the amount of pressure you put on opposing teams?
I don't know. I mean, that's just our game. You know, hopefully control the strike zone. You know, swing at good pitches. We get on base. You know, look to take extra bases and just keep the line moving. You know, everyone's just looking to put together a good at bat, and we were able to do a really good job of that early. Just control the zone. Don't let the moment get too big, and you know, just keep the line moving.
Thanks, Christian.
Awesome.
Thanks, Christian.
That is Christian Yelich, Brewers outfielder, designated hitter. Greg Matzek down there, grilling Christian. I said he's the heartbeat of the team, but man, he's able to just slow his pulse down. He just never gets too high, never gets too low. It just makes him such a solid force in that clubhouse when he's at the plate. I mean, he's always got that even keel that is big when you're a Major League Baseball player. It's
the leadership role that he plays, and he understands it, and he's been around long enough and been through so many things that he speaks the game the way it is. And when you think about or talk about a Christian Yelich, the one thing that he really does, he respects the game of baseball. And he respects not only the game of baseball and his teammates, but he respects his opponents. He understands how hard it is, what you're up against. He's gone through a couple years where he really struggled, but he fought his way back. He stayed with it. He stayed consistent. And I tell you what, when you think about a guy who leads a team, who's just thoughtful, thinks about everybody, understands the way the game is going, is able to go out and speak to each and every one. That's the type of guy you need. That's the kind of leader you need on a ball club, because they can go ahead, talk to you, explain it to you, and keep everything on the even keel, because the game of baseball itself is not easy. So he just slows it down to a thought to saying, you know what, stay with it. It's going to be okay.
You always said that Ted Simmons was kind of the heartbeat back then, but Teddy would get in your face, right? It was a different type of leadership.
Teddy. I just remember one time I pitched a game, and I was in Seattle, I think it was, and I started the game, and I got into about the fifth inning, 82. I got in about the fifth inning, and I made some really dumb pitches. I walked off, and my head was shaking, and I was screaming at myself. I was cussing at myself, and everything was, and no one said anything. Teddy was catching me, and he looked at me, and he just took a look at me like he usually does, like, didn't say anything. That next day, he said, "Augie, come here. Come here. You can't do that. When you come out of a game, something doesn't go right, think about what you have to do to make it better." And I think that's where you get a Christian Yelich. He knows it's so hard.
Yeah.
You take the things where you're struggling a little bit. How do you make them better? Ted Simmons was excellent at that. What do you do when you're in a game to make yourself better? How can you be better the next time out? How can you help us win that next game that might win a pennant for us or a game for us? And I think that's what Christian Yelich does. He has that real good thought process. And when he talks, they listen.
Yeah, and a couple of things to unpack with his answers there. One of them was, we just go out and we do what we do, which is string at-bats together. Case in point, that first inning, right? 11 batters come to the plate, Augie. 6 runs scored on 4 base hits. You made Cubs pitchers, including the starter who didn't last the first inning, throw 43 pitches in that first inning alone. And then, oh, by the way, they tack on 3 more in the second inning. But, yeah, Christian knows that. You heard him say it, too. All right, not the best ideal start. We give up a bomb. Peralta's our best pitcher. We give up a bomb. But they didn't panic. They just said, this is what we do. And whether or not they needed Christian Yelich to say that in the dugout, probably didn't have to say that. But if somebody needed a little settling down, there's your guy to say, look, this is what we're going to do. Here's the game plan. We've done it all year long. And they go out and execute.
And he'll speak it. He'll speak it. There's times this year when they were down by 4 or 5 runs, 6 runs. And he'd come and say, and you interview him after a game. He says, hey, we got six innings left. We can score runs. And I think that's the attitude that you need. And he keeps everything in perspective. But the one thing I really like about Christian Yelich, and ever since I've gotten to know him since he's come to Milwaukee, is his respect for the game and his respect for the opponents that he plays. He knows it's a hard game. He knows that you got to go and give your best. You got to keep your concentration. You got to keep looking forward, and good things will happen.
Another thing that Yelich touched on, Augie, was he was asked about the layoff and about coming off, firing on all cylinders, like they were ready to go. And again, Yelich, he didn't say, we were antsy, we were just jumpy, we were chomping at the bit to get at this. No, it was like the preparation was all laid out by Pat Murphy and this coaching staff. This is how we're going to do this. This is how we're going to handle this. We're in a situation that we want to take advantage of this, because we know Brewer teams in the past, stuck in that wild card round, we know how it goes. So now you get this benefit to heal guys up, and you get the benefit to go back in the lab and work on some things. It's exactly what they did, so that they didn't have to come out chomping at the bit. Maybe they're wringing their hands a little bit. Instead, they were more than ready to go, because they use these 5 days to their ultimate advantage.
I think we talked about it earlier this afternoon or earlier this morning. We talked about what was the difference in these ball clubs and having days off as opposed to not having days off. And we said a team like the Cubs, who has a lot of veterans, not a lot of young players, they go out if they have a week off and they just go through the routine that they do with batting practices, simulated games, and they just go through their routine. A little bit different with Milwaukee. When you got the young players that you do, it does several things. It gives you time to take that day off and say, this season we got to get it. We get to continue to play.
Yeah.
We got to keep everything in order. But not only that, it's after the workouts. The workouts are important. The at bats that they do in simulated games are important. But you know what's as important? After they get done practicing, they go in that clubhouse and they talk. They sit there and they talk amongst themselves. They say, hey, you know what? Here's what we're doing. Hey, how you doing? Everybody's talking to each other. And that comes from a good leadership with veteran guys that says, you know what? We need to be one thing. We have to be good teammates. Way you win ball games is be good teammate, be in favor of your teammates, help them when they need it, and that good things will happen. And I think what's really good about this club, and it's really good about Murph, that's the way it is.
It was great to see the response, Augie, of them. I said at the very top, rest. No, there was no rust.
That's right. It's perfectly put.
Because we have seen teams, right? They get the bye, and we don't know how they prep or not prep, but all of a sudden they run into some team that was in the wild card round who's on a buzzsaw. They got it going, and all of a sudden they get smacked upside the head, right? It's like, man, the rest was not good for that team. And I heard a lot of Brewer fans all week long talking about leading up to this, right? Whether it was going to be San Diego or the Cubs, what they wanted to know, what they're wringing their hands over when I talked to them was, I don't know if the time off is going to be good for them. Oh, they weren't playing well to end the regular season. But Augie, when it really is a reset. It's a flip of the switch. It's a completely different season when you reach the postseason.
It really is, and we say this big word called expectations.
Yeah,
everybody has expectations. I think when you get to the playoffs, expectations are thrown out the door. They're thrown out the window because it's not about expectations.
Is it the door or the window? Which
well,
is it?
Either or. If the window's open, I'm going to throw it out there. If the door's open, I'm going there. So
Today it's the window because it's so nice out.
I'm giving myself options. But no matter what you do, you take those expectations. You've gone through expectations all year. We know about expectations. Everybody's done things to improve on their expectations and what they want to do. They know what they can do. Now it's taking what you've done and be able to continue that performance. Being able to say, I'm going to do what I need to do to be the best player that I can be. I always laugh because there's no I in team, but I'll tell you what, there's a me, and you take a bunch of me's, you put them together. It's really important. So it's a little bit different than the I. I like the me's, and the me's help make the team.
I got to write this all down. I, me, wait, what is it?
I don't know how to spell.
Kiwani guy, ladies and gentlemen. The part of the angst that I heard, and I don't know if you heard this too with the Brewer fans, because you had these 5 days off, everybody had time to process this and overthink it and okay, what's going to happen? Good, but what are the Cubs going to come in here and just be raring to go because they want to beat the Brewers anyway, and they just beat the Padres at Wrigley Field. So everybody is digesting this the last 5 days, right? But one of the things that I heard, we talked about this on the warm-up this morning, one of the things that I heard from the fans was, I don't know if I can take it. I don't know if I can take this playoff series because it's the Cubs, because I don't want, this is a Brewer fan talking, and I've had several, I don't know if I can stomach losing to the Cubs, not advancing, and having those guys advance. But that's sports, right?
That is.
You can't, glass half full. And okay, what if you beat the Cubs? What if you advance? What if you're a Brewer fan and your team advances? And you end the season for the Chicago Cubs. That's like 2 cherries on top of the sundae. So, yeah. And Greg Matzek, God bless him, because he put it best, too. He said, it should be uncomfortable. Postseason, if you're a player or a fan,
definitely.
It should be uncomfortable, right, Augie? Because everybody gets there for a reason because they were good, and now it's good on good. So it better feel like butterflies in your gut.
Yeah, that uncomfortableness is there. There's no question until you walk out on that field or step out on that mound or have that good at bat. The uncomfortableness is there. Winning and losing there becomes the uncomfortableness becomes different. And you look at this ball club, and I just think that you look at it and you talk about what we did in the warm up this morning about the ball clubs. It's about two clubs playing each other, and it's the rivalry. It's the Cubs versus the Brewers, and it's Craig Counsell versus Pat Murphy, and it is all that. That's all part of the fun that we have as fans. That's all part of what baseball is, and baseball knows it. It's great, and we could be primetime shows every night. But at the same time, this is two good baseball teams. Yeah, this is two good baseball teams that have an opportunity to advance. That need to do what? They need to go out and perform at their best. And if they perform at their best, there's nothing else you can do. And these teams will. When this series is over, we're going to look back and say, "Wow." No matter what happens, if it's 3 games, 4 games, 5 games, whatever it is, we say, wow, this was fun.
Well, and Christian Yelich said it. Craig Counsell said it right in postgame. It's only 1 game. So Yelich wasn't too over the moon, giddy. Yeah, we won. It's great. It's good to get game 1, but we still got to win 2 more. And Craig Counsell said it too. Yeah, it doesn't change our strategy for game 2. We lost. We have to make some adjustments, but it's only 1 game. If they come here on Monday and even this series, and then they're going to Wrigley Field, guess what? Momentum shifts again, doesn't it?
Yeah, I was watching the game yesterday, and with the Indians and the Detroit Tigers, and afterwards Steve White comes in the game. He says, "We come to spring training with one reason." Winning a World Series. Yeah. That is the only reason we come to spring training. If you come to spring training to do anything less than that, don't go to spring training. And I think that's the same thing with the Brewers. I think it's the attitude that when you look deep down in Pat Murphy and this organization, the way they go, and Matt Arnold, the way they work, and you look at Craig Counsell with the Cowboys, that's what they come to spring training for. Yeah. Nothing less of that. They haven't achieved it. That's your ultimate goal. And I think that's a really good attitude to have. It's a good way to play. And you play so hard. These teams that were playing here at American Family Field today deserve to be here. They're 2 good ball teams, and you know what? It just so happens they're 90 miles apart, and they're the Cubs and the Brewers. Yeah. A lot of noise in this ballpark, too. Wow, awesome.
A lot less after the second inning from the folks down south, but nevertheless, 9-3 was the final, as Augie mentioned. When we come back on Brewers Extra Innings, more to talk about from the winning clubhouse. We'll hear how the Brewers stacked up in Game 1, their thoughts when we return.
Dave Spano from Annex Wealth Management. It didn't seem like it when the season started, but we've watched the crew become a great team. We're just as proud of the team here at Annex. I'll put the Annex team up against anyone when it comes to what we do. Investment, retirement, tax, and estate planning. If that's what you're looking for, let's talk soon. AnnexWealth.com. Click the Get Started button. In the meantime, let's enjoy championship baseball in Milwaukee.
Hungry for something fresh and delicious? Get your favorites from Cousin Subs delivered straight to your door. From our freshly baked bread and hand-sliced meats and cheeses to our famous sides, crispy golden fries, Wisconsin cheese curds, or creamy mac and cheese. Every meal made to order and ready to enjoy. Ordering is quick and easy online or through the Cousins app. Whether it's a solo lunch, family dinner, or a spread for the whole crew, let us bring it straight to you, fast and fresh. Cousin Subs. We believe in better.
At Hazelden Betty Ford, treating mental health isn't just about breaking old patterns. It's about braving new ones. As the leader in alcohol and drug treatment for 75 years, we know caring for addiction, anxiety, depression, and trauma goes hand in hand. We're here for you with new tools when life breaks down. Discover your path to better mental health at hazeldenbettyford.org/Wisconsin. Sponsored by Hazelden Betty Ford Foundation.
Welcome back to Brewers Extra Innings.
9-3 the final in Game 1 here at American Family Field. Bob and Augie with you on Brewers Extra Innings at Tony Wendorf and Associates, First Weber Group. They do more than close deals. They serve with gratitude and faith-filled purpose. They've sold over $300 million in real estate since 2020, one of the top-ranked real estate teams in Wisconsin. And they're just getting started. They care. Even if they're not your agent, they'll still help you. That's the kind of stewardship the community deserves. If you're buying or selling across southeast Wisconsin, let them earn your trust. Tony Wendorf, there to create your red carpet experience. Contact them at wendorfteam.firstweber.com today. All right, Pat Murphy, his turn on the podium after Craig Counsell was there first to go through his postgame thoughts. Murph took center stage to talk about the 9-3 victory.
I'll start with an obvious. What is Jackson's status right now?
Yeah, he's getting the MRI right now. You know, obviously it's real scary. Having that same hamstring injury to the same leg, we're hoping that it's something he can come back from soon. We have no idea when that would be. He's just getting out of the tube right now. We'll have somebody look at it. Yeah, could be devastating. Yeah. Great first question.
Stay here, second row, Andrew.
That was actually be my question, so I'll just move on to just how happy were you with the way that your guys responded after that first inning and came out and set that tone?
Yeah, we talked during the week. One of the things we made a point of, or maybe the main thing we talked about is, you know, promise me you'll be ready the first pitch. When the bell rings, you're ready. You don't get a couple rounds to figure out whether or not you want to fight. Be ready in the first round. And I thought the guys were certainly ready. You know, there was things that go unnoticed, but, you know, the Perkins 10-pitch base hit. Perk saw 27 pitches today. You know, those are the uncommon things that you're looking for. Perk's not a guy where you're thinking all that much offense, and he was that type of thing, you know, and Freddie was obviously fantastic. Him and William navigated a really good lineup, a hot lineup, a lineup that's confident, experienced, ton of, you know, all-stars, ton of whatever, and you know, they're a great club, and I thought Freddie and William did a great job navigating.
Stay in the second row.
Murph, with how many strikes Boyd throws, kind of like we talked about earlier today, was the idea for guys to go up there at least ready to swing early in the count if they needed to?
I think that's, I don't know where people are coming up with we don't swing early in the count, but you know, you gotta get your pitch, as they say, you know, and Boyd was coming back on short rest, and you know, we hit some balls where they weren't, and we were ready, and I love the at-bats.
Adam.
Early. Late, we got a little, but their relief pitching did a great job.
Murph, the atmosphere today, you've been at a lot of Brewers Cubs games where it's kind of 50-50. I don't know if you knew what to expect today, but what did you experience, and did that impact?
Well, it didn't seem 50-50 for sure. It felt like a home game. You know, it definitely felt like a home game. They were difference makers. And our guys feel that. You know, they're not that experienced, and there's a lot of young guys doing it for the first time, and they carry with them an awesome sense of responsibility. So to be ready today was fantastic, and the fans helped that. I mean, the fans were just, they were in it from the first pitch, and that's rare. You know, when it's the Cubs series, usually the Cubs have as many fans as we have, so, or not maybe as many, but they're very, very loud, and you know. That was pretty cool. I thought it was definitely a difference.
What's Maddie in the third row?
Within that first inning, just knowing how defensively sound this Cubs team usually is, what do you think of the way your guys capitalized on that mistake from Warner?
That's a tough ball. That ball's spinning really funny off off the bat, and you know, he's a Gold Glove performer, so I think that's just the stroke of luck, or, you know, it's an aberration. He's not going to do that a lot, but he's one of the best players in the game. He's one of the best baseball players in the game, and you got to have that sometimes to get a big lead or extend an inning. So That's how we've had to do it. Did we homer today? I don't think we homered today.
That is Brewers skipper Pat Murphy talking about the 9-3 victory over the Chicago Cubs in Game 1. Jerry Augustine, a couple things to unpack here with what Murph said. Of course, right out of the chute, had to ask the question. Todd Rosiak from the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel did that. Jackson Chourio pulls up lame, getting his third hit of the ball game, goes in. He's banging his helmet in the dugout. We all saw that on television. And that signaled right there that he knew this was not a good thing. And then Murph kind of emphasizing that as well. This might be serious.
Yeah, I agree. I think when you look at what Jackson Chourio and crashed his helmet down and just shook his head, when you injure a hamstring and then you don't, it's you still feel, no matter how long it goes, it might be a long period of time, where if you make that sudden move or you do that extra stretch, that something can pop in there again.
Yeah.
And it's one of the injuries that I think that are toughest in all the sports, that, you're trying to execute something right, but you extend yourself, and it looks like that's what he did.
Yeah.
Extend himself. Now, you would hope that maybe it's not as bad, but I think anytime you see a double injury of a hamstring or a leg muscle, I think it's hard to take, because most often it's something that doesn't prove to be too good.
And Augie and I are not doctors, and we don't play them on radio. But that being said, even if it's after the MRI comes back, no matter what the result is, you got to be careful here, because
That's
as
right.
you said, if you run him out there, say you skip him in Game 2, but you try to run him out there in Game 3 at Wrigley Field, and then something happens. Now you're talking not only for the rest of the postseason, but you're talking in the off season, and then you don't want this to multiply on a young guy like this and make things worse. As much as you want him in that lineup, as valuable as this kid is, you also have a future with him that you got to respect that.
And most definitely, and the funny thing is, when you got an injury like that, Bobby, what happens is it can happen not while you're giving 100% down the line. It can happen right out of the batter's box.
Yeah.
That first step might be a quick lunge, and all of a sudden, bang, it's there, especially when you have a injury that has been a place where it's been injured before. So this is going to be very interesting. I would probably think that they're going to be very, very cautious, which they should be, and it's going to be interesting what happens, and we'll know more tomorrow.
Yeah. If it's not as bad, okay, option. Can he DH? Can he stand in the batter's box?
That's right.
But then you tell him don't bust it down the line if you do get a base hit. We'll see. Yeah, we're going to find out more, as Murph said. Another thing that Murph pointed out, Augie, that was really interesting, and he didn't just poo-poo it. He didn't just say, yeah, the crowd was great today. He noticed that the crowd was great today in favor of the home team, because, as we all know, a lot of folks from down south, they find ways to get tickets, right? And so we were all wondering, and Murph reassured as well. He was wondering, what's it going to sound like in here? Is it going to be 50-50? And he told us it wasn't 50-50. It was
a home game.
A home game, right. And I think that was big, because it not only maybe surprised Pat Murphy and the players, but it also gave them more juice behind this great start.
Especially when you see where the attendance has been the last month, with all the sellouts they've had, all the exceptional games, the big come from behind wins, and the way it's been when they're playing the other opponents, and the way it is with the noise that there's in this place. Playing the Chicago Cubs usually is not like that, like you just said, Bobby, where you get half and half or a little bit less than that. But I'm going to tell you what, that was very comforting. I think it was really comforting for the team. I said maybe they were expecting something different. All of a sudden they walk out and they go, hey, what's going on here? Let's go. It does pump you up. It makes you feel good. And I think that's one reason why before I said they might go with Priester, because Priester at home, boy, he's been there. He's done that. He's heard that. And I think putting him on the mound in a situation like that could help him and be a big positive effect on him.
I'm going to tip my cap to the fans too, because I saw a lot of social media chatter in this last 5 days leading up, and it was Brewer fans, they were pleading with other Brewer fans, don't sell your tickets. This isn't Wrigley North. This is our home part. Like, don't you dare, even if you turn a profit, don't you dare sell your ticket. They're pleading with each other to gang up and make this a home game. So whether or not that made a difference, I don't know. But yeah, I was curious. Okay, after the home run, the Cubs fans made a lot of noise in the top of the first, but it wasn't overwhelming. It wasn't this tidal wave where you went, oh crap, there's too many Cubs fans in the ballpark. It was still plenty of Brewer fans, and they showed up in the bottom half of
It's been really interesting the last couple of days, Bob. I've been out grocery shopping or wherever I've been out, and it used to say, hey, big series, Cubs are going to play you. Hey, this is going to be a lot of fun. Let's go. It wasn't like that the last 2 days. All of a sudden, I had guys come up to me and want to give me the fist pump. And, they're really into it, and I think that's so exciting. It's great this is such a great series. It's a historical series and all that, but for our fans, we have the greatest fans in all of baseball. Wisconsin is so wonderful that, you know what? They're going to back it, and they're going to love it, and they're going to enjoy this no matter what happens. They're going to enjoy it. But I've just really enjoyed it because not too many times I go into the grocery store, guys are coming up to me, giving me fist bumps. But you know what? I enjoyed it.
And they're knocking your orange juice out of your cart, and it gets messy. And
stuff all over the floor.
Yeah.
But, we'll pick it up.
Yeah. No, but hey, it's one thing if you want to turn a profit during the regular season and flip your Cubs-Brewers tickets, okay? Maybe to pay for the rest of your tickets for the rest of the season. But I really think without social media encouraging or shaming you into not selling your tickets, I think Brewer fans that had their hands on tickets for this game and the rest of the series, I think this time they said, no, not selling. I want to be there. It doesn't matter if I turn a profit or not. I think these tickets are like the golden ticket in Willy Wonka. They wanted to be here and make some noise.
I agree with you. I just think this is such something historical, and it's really special.
Yeah.
I know the rivalry and all that is part of it, and I know Craig and Murph are part of it and all that stuff, but it's still Brewers and Cubs, and it's something that doesn't happen much, and in the historical importance of this series is just so special.
Yeah, it's amazing, too, that this is the first time they've met in a postseason series. Now, of course, they weren't always together in the National League.
Yeah.
But you would have thought at some point they would have clashed and crashed and run into each other. No, Augie's right. This is historical. It's been the first time between these two rivals, and so far, Brewer fans are having the most fun. When we come back on Brewers Extra Innings, we're going to relive all the fun. Yes, highlights from the first 2 innings. There were plenty.
Hey Milwaukee, we're in the playoffs, and Fifth Third Bank is here to help your business bring the same energy and drive to every inning of growth. With a local team right here in Milwaukee, Fifth Third has been delivering big league commercial banking for 15 years. From industry-specific expertise to local decision-making, we help your business thrive. No extra innings required. So while the crew battles for October glory, let Fifth Third help you score your next big win. Fifth Third Bank, National Association. Member FDIC.
Every family adventure begins with a vehicle you can trust. At Boucher Automotive Group, we're more than just a dealership, we're part of your journey.
For over 40 years, Boucher has helped Wisconsin families find the right vehicle with service you can count on.
Community is what fuels us too. That's why you'll see us supporting local schools, Little League teams, golf outings, and other causes throughout the year.
From the first time you get behind the wheel to every service visit after, Boucher is there for all the miles and the memories that matter.
The Boucher Automotive Group. We ride with you every mile.
Don't think twice. Call Geis.
For 70 years, Geis has been the trusted garage authority in Wisconsin. WTMJ's Greg Matzik here. Don't let a busted garage door get you down. Call my friends at Geis today. With brands like CHI and LiftMaster, they have doors for every budget and will even build custom designs to meet your exact needs. For swift and reliable garage repair solutions, go to GeisDoors.com. You can also visit their amazing showroom in Brookfield and their custom design room.
Don't think twice. Call Geis.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station. This is Brewers Extra Innings on WTMJ.
Tonight's game highlights playback brought to you by International Autos Group. Just like our MVPs, you can drive in the summer in style. Well, drive out of summer. It's going to get colder next week. Save up to $15,000 on in-stock BMWs, Audis, Mercedes-Benz, and so much more. No tariffs, just huge savings. Visit IAMilwaukee.com. That's International Autos Group, where ordinary needs to be extraordinary. Yeah, you want highlights? You missed the highlights from earlier? Shame on you, but I got you covered. Here we go.
Ready for this?
Out of here!
This?
Run it back! Ho, ho, ho!
And this?
It is gone!
Time for tonight's highlights.
Well, the top of the first inning, an auspicious start and a scary one for the Brewer fans. Freddie Peralta on the hill and the leadoff man, Mr. Bush, at the plate.
2-1 pitch. Swing and a fly ball hit to right. Back is Frelick. He's at the wall, and Bush hits a leadoff home run to give the Cubs a 1-0 lead.
Okay, you heard some noise there, but boy, the Brewer fans, they're going to make a lot of noise in the bottom of the first. Starting off with Bryce Terang.
Here's the pitch. Drops down, a line drive down the right field line. That'll score Chourio. Terang into second base. Back-to-back doubles, and we're tied 1-1.
Tied right away, and William Contreras unties it quickly.
Line drive left center. That one's headed towards the gap, and into the gap it goes. Terang will score. Contreras slides into second. It's 2-1 Milwaukee. 3 straight pitches, 3 straight doubles.
And the damage may have been limited there in the bottom of the first inning, but then a crucial at-bat and a crucial miscue at second base.
Pitch from Boyd. Ground ball hits softly to second base. Horner bobbles! Safe is Frelick. Here comes Contreras to the plate. The throw is late. The Brewers take advantage of Nico Horner's error, and it's 3-1.
A Cubs team that has been so good defensively. Big miscue there. 3-1, and the Brewers pounce on that door opening with a great at-bat finished off by Blake Perkins.
Perkins, line drive, back up the middle of base hit. Vaughn will score. Frelick goes to third. It's 4-1. Blake Perkins delivers on the 11th pitch of the at-bat.
And you heard us earlier, 11 batters came to the plate in the bottom of the first inning for Milwaukee. They knocked out the starting pitcher, and Jackson Chourio, second time around, gets more damage done.
10th man at the plate, Chourio down to the count 1-2. Soroka's pitch. Line drive and into left, a base hit. Frelick scores. Perkins coming home. He scores. A 6th spot in the bottom of the first for the Brew Crew.
11 batters, 6 runs on 4 hits. They erased that leadoff home run by Chicago. And then in the second inning, more damage courtesy of Caleb Durbin.
It's the pitch. Durbin, shallow fly, center field, sinking fast. It's down, a base hit. 1 run is in. Here comes Yelich. The throw is late. A 2-run single for Caleb Durbin, and the Brewers have hung a snowman on the Cubs. It's 8-1.
And they weren't done offensively. Jackson Chourio, a limited playing time today for him as he had to leave early. But before he left, he gave him 1 more run.
2-2 coming. Swinging a bouncer at third base. Shaw knocks it down. Throw across the diamond is going to be late. 3 for 3 for Jackson Chourio. It's 9-1.
And as we mentioned and as you heard, that's when Chourio had to leave the game. MRI going on as we speak. Hamstring is the call so far with the early prognosis. Meantime, while all that was going on, Freddie Peralta, he shook off that leadoff home run and did some damage through his rest of his night on the bump.
The pitch struck him out swinging. Threw a fastball by him at 96, and he strikes out 3 in the inning. 9 Ks in the game for Freddie Peralta through 5 sparkling innings in Game 1.
Freddie got it done, settling down 9 strikeouts. By the way, ties a Brewer record, a postseason record for most strikeouts in a postseason contest. The other 2, pretty good. Giovanni Gallardo and Don Sutton also had 9 strikeouts in the game. All right, when Augie and I return on Brewers Extra Innings, more to talk about. Going to talk a little bit more about Game 1 and kind of get you set for Game 2 as we roll on.
Some things are fine to buy from a vending machine, but despite what a certain national online company tells you, a car is not one of them.
Let's see. Cheese doodles, Mr. Nougat Bar. Oh, here we go. Green 4-door hatchback. We're gonna need some more quarters.
Sure, they make it seem convenient, but it won't be so convenient if you have a problem with the vehicle you buy. And if it's after 7 days, good luck. Adam member dealers also let you search online, and unlike those national companies, you get to see the vehicle in person and test drive it before you buy it. You also have the assurance that the vehicle's been thoroughly tested, and if any issue does come up, your local Adam member dealer is right here to service it and can also provide low financing and top dollar for your trade. Think about that before you take the chance with their so-called vending machine.
What? It's stuck. No! Oh, rats.
Start your search at adamm.com.
Trust in your family's comfort at home with Cider Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical. They're the oldest family-owned HVAC company in southeast Wisconsin. 4 generations of Ciders, and their highly trained technicians provide a one-stop shop for all home and business comfort needs, including an emergency service line that's always live and a 12-year parts and labor warranty on all Daikin products. Get peace of mind by scheduling maintenance today with Cider Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical. That's SEIDER, cider.com.
Smart interior designers know that what they'll see here is going to be almost impossible to find anywhere else, especially at our consignment prices. Premium home decor that's gently loved and close to new. And what we carry can raise the wow factor of anyone's home decor. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor at a value. Design Exchange in Heartland and Pewaukee.
Design Exchange.
In Heartland, you're going to find a focus on distinctive furniture, unique antiques, and original artwork, along with tasteful home decor that can fit almost any budget. In Pewaukee, the focus is on kitchen, outdoor, and garden decor, and all of it is priced at 25 to 40% off retail. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor on consignment at a value.
Design Exchange.
This is Brewers Extra Innings.
Perkins, line drive, back up the middle, a base hit. Vaughn will score. Frelick goes to third. It's 4-1. Blake Perkins delivers on the 11th pitch of the at-bat.
That, Augie and I have decided, is our play of the game. It's brought to you by Surfside, proud partner of the Milwaukee Brewers. Surfside iced tea and vodka, and Surfside lemonade and vodka, paired perfectly with a day at the ballpark, stocked right here, ice cold at American Family Field all season long. Augie and I will probably grab one in about 17 minutes. But I was asking you during the break, all right, what's the so many great plays here to pick the play of the game. Why did you select Blake Perkins?
I think when you look at that at bat, there's 11 pitch at bat, but who was hitting and what getting that base hit just really what it does is solidifies the good at bats they had in that inning. It solidifies what they have accomplished that in there, being patient at the plate at the beginning of the game. They were very aggressive, coming out like Murph said in his interview, saying, "Hey, come ready for the first round because we got to come out. We're in a fight right now. We got to go get them." But this was a little bit different. This is later on. You had to be patient. You had to battle. You had to fight things off, and getting it from that at bat, going to hitting that ball up the middle, getting a big 2-out RBI on that was so huge.
Even though the Brewers, this is their MO, right? This is what they do. It's the sum of the parts.
That's right.
This is a true team effort that has gotten to the postseason, that got them the most wins in all of Major League Baseball. But even more so, Augie, they want to lean into that philosophy because, especially now, if Chourio's not coming back, you're going to need all that sum of the parts to contribute. And so you're going to need the I'll call them the less obvious guys to come through. So you're going to need Perkins. You're going to need Isaac Collins now probably to be a player. You're going to need a Joey Ortiz to surprise you with a big hit perhaps there. Durbin, I mean, you can go all the way around the diamond. This is what this Brewer team needs, is to have guys all contribute when maybe you don't expect them to be the big gun contributor.
Well, you make a really tough decision when you make the roster up, and what you do is you don't take Rice Hoskins and you keep Lockridge. Why do you keep Lockridge? Exactly for what might have happened with Jackson Chourio.
Yeah,
he is such an important part. Here's a guy who can play anywhere in the outfield. Offensively, he's really been a force when he's been in the game. He's swung the bat pretty well. So you needed those additional moves to help you out, and there's all the guys that you have have on the team. Everybody chips in. Everybody in that roster is so much needed. And I'll tell you, that's one thing we've seen out of this ball club. It's just not the guys who start the game. It's the entire roster who's involved.
When you watch other baseball games, other Major League Baseball games, and the way that teams are constructed and the way they are built, they know what the strengths are. And sometimes the Phillies, for example, they lead the Dodgers right now 2-0 early on in that other side of the National League Division Series. But the Phillies are constructed how? Schwarber, right?
That's right.
Bryce Harper. They've got the big bat. Trey Turner when he's healthy. But they lean into their big bats, right?
Yes.
That's their MO. Dodgers, very similar too. They've got an Ohtani. They've got a Freddie Freeman. They lean into their big bats. And if somebody surprises you, okay, bonus. But we're going to win or die most of the time, most nights on the diamond, leaning into our strengths. With the Brewers, and they'll continue to do this, and they did it again today. We're going to lean into who has the hot at bat, who makes the smart play, who makes the play that ignites guys behind them. That's what Milwaukee's going to do, and that's why it's so hard for other teams to diagnose. What are they going to do next? How do we slow that train down?
And it's because it's almost anybody who can give you a good at bat.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any difference who it is, and I think that's what's so neat about this ball club. And you mentioned the Phillies with all the guys, Realmuto and all these guys that they have that they can count on. You look at the Dodgers are the same way. Brewers are constructed differently.
Yeah.
They're constructed with young guys going out and giving everything they got, having good at bats, performing like they need to do, and being excited by what they do. One thing I really like about this ball club is when they do something positive, they're excited about what they do, and it's really made a big difference in this ball club in the way they play. And one thing I wanted to bring up is every game that you see Murph talk, it's almost exclusively every night he'll mention one name, Contreras. And I tell you what, we talk about different ways you lead a club, and we talk about Christian Yelich. Contreras is that leader on the field. He's the leader with those guys that are on the hill, and everybody buys into what he's doing. And you know what? You'll see him after an inning. If there's something that doesn't go exactly the way we want, he doesn't walk straight to the dugout. He angles and goes by the pitcher and just mentions something, or he'll go in and get in the dugout. I see it time and time again where he'll go and just say something to the guy. There's quarterbacks and there's different players who do different things, and I tell you what, we don't give him enough credit what he's done with our pitching staff.
I think this is something you and I touched on this morning as well on Brewers warm-up, the fact that, to me, a scary aspect of this Cubs team was that who's third in stolen bases? The Chicago Cubs. The Milwaukee Brewers are second, but the Cubs are right behind them in team stolen bags. So I kind of quizzed you and said, does Craig Counsell maybe try to out-brewer the Brewers? Does he try to throw a little taste of their own medicine? Right. Well, because of what happened in that first inning, now, first of all, you don't get guys on base because Freddie, A, settles in. But B, even if you do get guys on base, you can't take the chance to get thrown out by Contreras and lose an opportunity when you're trying to catch up. So because of that 6-1 lead, which then grew to 9-1, all of a sudden, that Cubs run game, again, even if you get guys on base, it's gone. Now Contreras can just sit back there and catch.
Yeah, that's right. And I'll tell you what, the one thing about Contreras, he only accepts being professional and doing his job correctly. He understands it. When he doesn't throw somebody out, he kind of just looks and he says, analyzes himself. I just really watch him, and I like the way he handles pitches, because there are times when a guy will throw a pitch and he's up out of his stance and he's on the mound before you know it, just to say, hey, you know what, maybe it's something that he could do to correct or something that he has to do. And he always passes a guy in the back and say, hey, come on, let's go get him. He's such a force behind the plate, and there's a reason why he likes to play every game, is because he loves the game, he likes to perform, and he wants to show that he's a valuable player in our ball club.
Yeah, he's a good one. Augie, tell us how important a catcher is, because we talked about Freddie settling down after giving up the leadoff bomb, right? So he has to have a little press conference with himself to settle himself down. But the catcher, Contreras, he's involved in there. How much involvement is there with a Contreras, or any catcher for that matter, to get in the kitchen, get in the head of the starting pitcher to help them get back to where they need to be?
It'll be body actions. When after that was done, I can remember you could see that Freddie walked the throne. He looked in, and there Contreras was going. He pumped his fist, and then he got down and stance. He started calling the game.
Yeah.
He's the kind of guy that, you take guys like a Teddy Simmons or Charlie Moore when he was a catcher, Buck Martinez, those guys. You have a certain amount of confidence in them that they're so involved in the game. They understand what you can do and what you can do to the best of your ability, that's what they're going to do. And I think that's one thing that Contreras takes to heart. He says, I'm just not going to know everything about Freddie Peralta. I'm going to know everything about everybody who walks on that mound and how to make them successful. And I tell you, we see it a lot. We see a lot of guys going in and certain pitches you would say, he's going to go to fastball in here. No, he would do something different. He looks and he pumps his fist. There's a lot of communication just visually. It doesn't have to be verbally. It can be visually, and it makes a lot of sense.
Here's the thing. If you're a major league catcher, you also have to be a part-time psychologist, right?
That's right.
Freddie is wired different than Quinn Priester, than Quintana, than Woodruff, than McGill in the bullpen when you get to the bullpen, then Uribe. So as a catcher, they have to say to themselves, okay, how's my guy? Does he need to be chewed out a little bit? Does he need a pat on the butt? Do I need to just, as you said, just give him a look because he's a veteran and he knows? You're dealing with that entire pitching staff as a catcher, and you have to know what message do I want to deliver, and how is he going to receive it? And that is different from 1 through 13.
Something happened about 10 games prior to the end of the season. And what happened, Uribe came in the game with runners, and a guy was going to bunt, and he threw the ball up and in, almost hit him. And then he walked the guy, got himself in trouble. In fact, the bases loaded. There was nobody out. Uribe standing on the mound. And right away you're thinking, here comes Chris Hook, and there goes Contreras out to the mound. And it's funny because I watched it so intently. I was saying, what's going to happen here? Contreras just stood there and he looked in at Hookie. Hookie never moved. You know what they did? They said, "Hey, big boy, you're on the mound. You want to be a closer? Come on, let's step up." And what he did, he got out of the inning, striking a couple guys out, making great sinking ball pitches. That was a learning experience for Abner Uribe that time, but it made him a better pitcher because of it.
All right, when we come back on Brewers Extra Innings, we're going to call it a night. We're going to start getting you ready for Game 2 because it's just a couple days away. Going to be a fun one Monday night back here at the Ball Yard. Stay with us.
Drafty windows means wasted money. Call Siding Unlimited today for energy-efficient replacement windows and doors and start saving now. For a free estimate and honest price guarantee, go to sidingunlimited.com.
At Tony Wendorf & Associates First Weber Group, we believe in the human side of real estate. For us, it's faith, family, and friends in that order. We live that every single day. I'm Tony Wendorf. We move fast, negotiate with confidence, and communicate clearly so our clients win. We operate from a place of gratitude, having donated nearly $200,000 back to our community since 2020. You deserve a team that delivers a luxury experience no matter the price point. Contact us today to get started. Tony Wendorf & Associates, trusted knowledge, superior service. Contact us at wendorfteam.firstweber.com.
For your fellow fanatics and your #1 fans. For your game day compatriots and your everyday companions. For your personal cheerleaders and your personal heroes. For the reasons you smile, get covered with dental and vision insurance from Delta Dental of Wisconsin and Delta Vision. Learn more at deltadentalwi.com today.
Welcome back to Ask Hasselus. I'm Weston. What's your question?
You know when that big online store has special days with ridiculously low prices?
Yeah.
Why doesn't Hasselus Mattress do that?
We do.
You do? When?
Every day.
Okay, good one. But really, when are the big discounts?
Like I said, every day. You know our showrooms are employee-free.
So I can give your mattresses a try.
With no pushy sales guy.
Yeah, I know.
Well, that allows us to sell Sealy Posturepedic, Beauty Rest, and more for way less.
Give me numbers.
Our 35 beds from the top 5 brands start at $393. Free next day delivery, too.
And you do this every day?
Yeah. Plus, through Monday, get a free box spring with every Sealy Posturepedic, Beauty Rest, and more, or take an equal amount off an adjustable base.
Wow.
So I guess you could say now is a prime time to buy.
I see what you did there.
Open 9 to 9. Find an employee-free showroom near you or shop online at Hasselus.com.
This is Brewers Extra Innings.
I'm on top of the world. I'm on top of the world. Waiting on this for a while now. Paying my dues to the dirt.
Professional athletes like the Brewers and the Cubs, not me and Augie, we're past our prime. They trust Neurospine Center of Wisconsin, and you can too. Neurospine Center of Wisconsin, from cutting-edge biologic injections to the latest invasive surgeries. Get a virtual second opinion available throughout Wisconsin. Visit nscwi.com. That's Neurospine Center of Wisconsin. Your spine health is their passion. Oh, you got the scoreboard handy, the postseason scoreboard. Brewers won 9-3. What are the other games? What do they got? The Blue Jays. Yeah, he keeps pressing his iPad here, and it's not liking you there. All right, read the scores. A couple finals.
From Toronto 10, Yankees 1.
Whoa.
And that is a final. And then we were in the top of the third inning. Philadelphia's got the lead over the Los Angeles Dodgers 3-0.
Wow. And then later tonight, we go back out west for Seattle and the Big Dumper.
That's going to be a good matchup, too.
Yeah, taking on the Detroit Tigers, who blew the division but then came back to beat the Guardians and advanced to face the Seattle Mariners out west. So that'll wrap up day one of this best-of-5 series for everybody, because the final 8 teams are all in action. All right, to look ahead to Game 2, Augie, we don't know who the starting pitchers are going to be. We know for Milwaukee it's going to be Priester. You think it's going to be Priester or Jose Quintana, one of the two. But for the Cubs, Craig Counsell has a decision to make. Maybe a tie-on, but, again, because of how things played out here today, it's going to be interesting to see who Craig calls on.
It really is. And, the reason I mentioned tie-on, because he was injured for a while, and he was starting to get back in the swing of things, and he pitched 4 innings, threw about 50 or 60 pitches. He could be an interesting selection, but he's going to come up with something. It might be a bullpen. You don't know how they're going to do it, but this is going to be an important game for them to be able to get off on the right foot. And I'm sure, you got a guy like Colin Ray can pitch, and he's been throwing the ball very well. So it's going to be interesting to see who they pick. But I think it's either. I'm pretty sure. I feel confident that's going to be Priester, especially at home, with Quintana going back to Chicago where he played for so many years. So it's going to get interesting.
Well, and you mentioned Quinn Priester. If it's 2 or 3, this team has played well behind him because he gives you solid innings and he gives you a chance to win the baseball game. So they respond to this guy, don't they?
Yeah, he's a winner. I'll tell you what, one thing he does, he keeps in a ball game. He's very consistent, doesn't walk people, puts the ball in play, and he's got a lot of confidence in what he's doing.
All right, he's Jerry Augustine, former Brewer pitcher. We are going to be back at it Monday night with Brewers warm-up at 7 p.m. Remember, it's an 8:08 start. 7 p.m. we got Brewers warm-up, then the game, the first pitch at 8:08, and then we followed up with a late-night edition of Brewers Extra Innings again. Thanks for joining us here tonight. Game 1 in the books. The Brewers over the Cubs by the final of 9-3. Good night, Wisconsin.